Alison Kuhn, welcome to the Ljubljana Documentary Film Festival. We will have a short talk about your film, The KSU. I understand this is your student work, actually. This is your, can you talk about it?
Yes, hi, thank you. And yes, I shot it actually in my first year at Film University Babelsberg, Konrad Wolf in Potsdam, Germany. It's not part of my curriculum. I did not have to do it, but it was like a workshop project that you can do within your studies. And I shot it simultaneously to my other film school projects, which was really crazy because it was so much work, and it was quite a ride, but I don't regret doing it.
This is very ambitious to have a feature-length film in your first year at the university.
Yeah, actually it's not even allowed, but somehow I got through.
Okay, so let me ask you, how did the Me Too movement affect you, and when did you decide to make a film about your experience as well?
I think the Me Too movement did not have so much impact on my decision to shoot the film, but it has a lot of impact on the people who watch it now and the discussion that happens around my film. I think if I had done it like a few years ago before the movement, people would have been more afraid to show it or to talk openly about it. And I think now is like really the right time for films like this, because there's the society is really open for discussion and for change.
This was actually meant to be my last question, but since you started, so did the film trigger lots of public, discussion and so on? Because I mean, now we know that in the COVID times, cinemas are closed. So how are you actually showing your film around?
Yeah, actually, just like we are doing it now, we had our world premiere at IDFA in Amsterdam. Yeah. But I wasn't there. I couldn't travel there because of the restrictions.
Me neither.
Yeah, it's too bad. And then we had our German premiere at Max Ophüls, and actually within that festival we had panels and talks, everything via Zoom. But it was really great, and I got so many emails and messages of people and women who experienced similar things, which was really great. So I'm very grateful that it is possible that way in this very strange year. So yeah.
How did you decide on this stage mise en scène? Why did you put it in that particular environment, if I call it?
For a few reasons. I always wanted the film to be to have a very reduced form. I wanted it to be very focused. It shouldn't be like a documentary that visits the women at home or shows their everyday life. I was not so interested in that, but it should have a more essayistic form to speak for the bigger topic. And of course, it was financially very good to shoot in our film school because we did not have a lot of money for the film. But I found it a challenge to take this one room, but create a structure, a cinematic structure that is very complex, and tell all of it in this one room. Mm-hmm. Because I felt the film had to be so complex. Its form should be so complex as the case itself, because there are no easy answers.
Yeah. And the work with the actresses, do you have a fixed idea on how to approach this?
Yes, actually, usually I work very clearly structured, and also in this case. So it was very clear that we had like 2 days for interviews, then 1 day for the reconstructive part, 1 day for the improvisational part, and so we really had actually almost like you shoot a fictional film. We had a structure, when to shoot what, and within these parts, we were very free, and this allowed my protagonists to be really open and in the moment.
But how are these issues handled now in Germany? You know, all these cases about the sexual assaults and the manipulations with the actors or the actresses.
I'm not so good in talking about this. I rather let my protagonists talk about these issues. But what we also said in the film, there are two. You need to how do you say? There should firstly be a lawsuit against the violation of the personal rights. And if that is closed, then can there be a lawsuit against the sexual abuse? So these are two different topics that need to be handled after each other. So it's still ongoing.
But what about the case about that particular director and the producer? Did this result in any epilogue in court or outside the courts?
I can only say as much as that it's still ongoing.
Mm-hmm. Because this was an unusual case, you know, because the director also used all that material that was filmed for his documentary. I don't remember if it's mentioned in the film, but I think it's mentioned in the context of the film because I saw it back in October. So
yeah, it's very complex. It's a very unusual case. So that's why I said there are no easy answers. It's not as easy as to say one person did something wrong and the other one can point it out. Of course, there was a lot of wrongdoing, but it's not as easy as many other cases. Yeah.
Were there any reactions for those two people, from the producer and the director? Did they see your film? Did they react?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything.
So how would you say was the film and the making of the film? Did it have any therapeutic, consequences for you and the other actresses? I mean, did you see it as a sort of, just to let things out, or?
Yes, that was that was a very positive side effect. We all had the feeling, or my protagonists after the shooting said that they felt like for the first time they could let it go and it was out there, and we had talked about it so much in front of the camera and behind the camera, and that was very necessary to not be fine with it, but to gain a little bit of peace.
But were you related with all these actresses? I mean, or you found them specifically for your film?
No, I didn't know any one of them before. So I met them in front before the shooting, of course, to get to know them. But they're actually within the film. You can really watch us getting a group, getting a team that until today we're in contact almost every day, and that's very, very beautiful.